So today we're diving into something really bold. It's a vision called Africa 2030, a blueprint put together by Pastor Alex Ocheme. And its goal? Well, it's nothing less than transforming an entire generation of young Africans to take them, as the source material puts it, from desperation to destiny.
At the very core of this whole vision is this one powerful diagnosis. The idea is that Africa's youth have this incredible energy, this massive potential. You could say they're on fire. But the central argument here is that all that fire is being pointed in the wrong direction, down some really destructive paths.
So that brings us to our first section, where we're going to really unpack the crisis this whole vision is trying to solve. What does it actually mean for a generation to be on fire but just heading the wrong way?
Well, the argument is that young people aren't really planning for a future anymore. They're basically plotting an escape. And these escape routes are often pretty desperate, right? We're talking about everything from internet fraud, which is locally known as Yahoo, to what the text calls hookup culture, and even getting into politics, not to lead a nation, but to loot it.
And what's fueling all these escapes? The source points to this cultural mindset it calls the blow syndrome. It's described as being like a mental virus, this constant, relentless pressure to get rich and famous like right now, to just skip the whole process. It's a culture that celebrates that overnight success without ever really questioning how it happened. Okay, so we've seen the symptoms, but what's the actual root cause here? The Africa 2030 vision argues that the problem goes way deeper than just behavior. It's what the source calls a mindset war. And this is the central argument of the whole thing. The root problem isn't something external, like not enough jobs or bad government policies. Instead, the vision says it's an internal crisis, a crisis of values and character. And that means any real solution has to start from the inside out. So the source material paints this really sharp contrast between two conflicting worldviews. You've got the luxury mindset on one side, which is all about the flashy stuff, private jets, convoys, foreign bank accounts. And then on the other side, you have the legacy mindset, where success is measured by the lives you lift up and the systems you actually make better.
And that same conflict plays out in another way, the consumer mindset versus the builder mindset. One is all about short-term survival, just hustling, just getting by. But the other one asks these way bigger questions like, what problem can I solve? Or what can I leave behind for others? It's a huge shift from just surviving to actually contributing.
And it all boils down to this core idea of character. The argument is simple. Before you can fix a country's economy or its politics, you have to start by building integrity. It's about who you are when there's no audience, no applause, and nobody is watching.
So, if the problem is a deep crisis of character, what's the solution? Well, that brings us to the Builder's Blueprint, the actual strategic plan behind Africa 2030.
And let's be really clear about this. The text says this isn't just another youth program or some weekend seminar. It's framed as a youth war room. Think about that. An intensive 6-month system that's designed for a deep, strategic, and total transformation of a person's life.
The whole system really stands on 3 main pillars. First up is a mind detox, to completely break that get-rich-quick way of thinking. Second is skill over clout, which is all about replacing the chase for fame with real, valuable abilities. And third is mentorship, where every single graduate is trained to become a mentor themselves, making sure the change multiplies.
And that skill over clout pillar is incredibly practical. This is not just theory. We're talking about real, tangible skills. Things like digital abilities, graphic design, web development, and trade skills like welding and tailoring, and even entrepreneurship, like starting a soap-making or catering business.
But here's the big question, right? Does this blueprint actually work? This final section looks at the results, what the source material calls a new breed rising. So let's look at a real story from the text. This is Suleiman. He was deep into internet fraud. But through the program, that mind detox track just completely shook his entire worldview. He then learned practical design skills, and today, he runs his own creative agency, which he actually calls Clean Hustle Creatives.
And here's another really powerful story. This is Fatima, who came from a background of prostitution. She went through the program and is now a skincare entrepreneur. And her quote, "Man, it just captures the whole vision. It's not just about changing your job. It's about changing your entire identity, from a victim to a healer."
And this right here, this shows the engine that's designed to make the whole thing scale up. See, the goal isn't just to help one person. The model demands that every single graduate then mentors several others, who then go on to become mentors themselves.
The whole point is to create this exponential grassroots movement. So this completely redefines what success even means inside this program. It's not about individual achievement, it's about reproduction. The true goal here is to create a whole new wave of mentors who can carry this blueprint forward into their own communities.
And all of that leaves us with this one final question. A question that really sits at the very heart of the Africa 2030 vision. It challenges the usual way of thinking, that national change comes from top-down policy, and instead it asks, what if the real foundation for a nation's future is built not on policy, but on the character of its people?